Shanti.
We'll all sing together Paramadayal, page 25. If you have the green book, it will be a different page number. The blue book is 25.
Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal Parama Kripal Paramakipal Shri Ma Sarada Paramakipal Paramakipal Ma Paramakipal Shri Ma Sarada Paramakipal Karuna Sagar Yuga Avatar Naiya Hamari Karo Bhagavan Karuna Sagar Yuga Avatar Naiya Hamari Karo Bhagavan Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal 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 Paramakipal Ma Paramakipal Shri Ma Sarada Paramakipal Paramakipal Ma Paramakipal Shri Ma Sarada Paramakipal Karuna Sagar Yuga Avatar Naiya Hamari Karo Bhagavan Karuna Sagar Yuga Avatar Naiya Hamari Karo Bhagavan Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal Paramadayal Prabhu Paramadayal Rama Krishna Prabhu Paramadayal Om Shri Rama Krishna Bhagavan ki jai Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai Shri Ambe Ambe Mata ki jai.
Om, page 40.
Page 40.
Gauri Nandana Gajavadana Ganesha Vairana Mam Pahi
Gauri Nandana Gajavardhana Ganesha Vairana
Page 112. Om Jai Jai Kali Jai Mahakali Kari di Kripa Mahakapparavali
Jai Jai Kali Jai Mahakali Kari di Kripa
Mahakapparavali Jai Jai Kali Jai Mahakali Kari di Kripa Mahakapparavali
Jai Jai Kali Jai Mahakali कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय बोलो माँ काली की, जय बोलो काल कराली की।
जय बोलो माँ काली की, जय बोलो काल कराली की।
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
चंद्रनाशिनी तू ही प्रचंडा, तू ही दुर्गा तू चामुंडा।
चंद्रनाशिनी तू ही प्रचंडा, तू ही
चामुंडा।
चंद्रनाशिनी तू ही प्रचंडा, तू ही दुर्गा तू चामुंडा।
तू ही गिरिजा तू ही गौरी और तू ही है खुशा माला।
तू ही गौरी
सुख सा जय बोलो माँ काली की, जय बोलो काल कराली की।
जय बोलो माँ काली
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
गले में तेरे मुंड की माला, अखियों में है घट घट ज्वाला।
गले में तेरे मुंड की माला, अखियों में है घट घट ज्वाला।
गले में तेरे मुंड की माला, अखियों में है घट घट ज्वाला।
गले में तेरे मुंड की माला, अखियों में है घट घट ज्वाला।
हाथों में है खड्ग विशाला, चरणों में शिव भोला भाला।
हाथों में है खड्ग विशाला, चरणों में शिव भोला भाला।
छवि तिहारी अजब निराली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
छवि तिहारी अजब निराली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय बोलो माँ काली की, जय बोलो काल कराली की।
जय बोलो माँ काली की, जय बोलो काल कराली की।
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा, वस्त्र विभूषित अद्भुत वेशा।
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 दासी तुझको ध्याय निश दिन, ब्रह्मा विष्णु और महेशा।
दासी तुझको ध्याय निश दिन, ब्रह्मा
कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
तू है ममता देने वाली, कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
जय
जय बोलो कालक रानी की
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माथा पर वाली
जय जय काली जय महाकाली कर दे कृपा माँ खप्पर वाली।
ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय।
On page 122.
हो जगना पालनहार हो जगना पालनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे हो जगना पालनहार
बने तारो एक सहारो छे
तन पाछे रयो फूकार
ओ वाला तन पारी रयो पुकार
मनो तारो एक सहारो छे ओ जगना
पालनहार
मने
तारो एक सहारो छे
हो जगना
पालनहार बने तारो एक सहारो छे
तारा भजन मस्त रहीने जीवन मारू विचाओ
तारा भजन मस्त रहीने जीवन मारो बिताओ
अंत समये भजन करता
अंत समये भजन करता
तारा मारे समाओ
हो तारा मारे समाओ
हो दुनिया ना घजना
हो दुनिया ना घजना मने तारो एक सहारो छे
हो जगना पालनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे
हो जगना पालनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे
पलमा हसावे पलमा रडावे पलमा दुनिया ने छोड़ावे
पलमा हसावे पलमा रडावे पलमा दुनिया ने छोड़ावे
दया करो मारा दुख ने हरो रे
दया करो मारा दुख ने हरो रे
तारनहार
तू तार तारनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे
हो जगना पालनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे हो
जगना पालनहार मने तारो एक सहारो छे
हो जगना पालनहार ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers and loving children. We welcome you to this morning's satsang and are always happy to see you here. The little children may go to their classes. On Friday was full moon, that's Buddha Jayanti, Lord Buddha's birthday, on a full moon in May. Sometimes it goes into June, but usually in May. And today our speaker is Mr. Prakash Haribhai, who will speak to us about Lord Buddha.
Om Aim Shri Ramakrishna-ya Namaha. Om Aim Reem Shri Sarada Devi Namaha. Shri Swami Vivekananda-ya Namaha. Revered Ishtaprana Mataji and fellow devotees, it must be emphasized over and over again that Hindus believe in one God. You will recall that Sri Krishna promised in the Bhagavad Gita that when there is a decline in righteousness, then God will incarnate. Thus, we as Hindus believe and accept Buddha as an incarnation of God. Buddha is spiritually awakened or an enlightened state. His final message to his favorite disciple, Ananda, was, "Be a lamp unto yourself. Buddha is not a person, it is a state. I have opened the door, enter all of you." It is this significant framework to understand his life and teachings. For the sake of convenience, we sometimes refer to Buddha as a person. The three most prolific intellectuals of India in chronological order are Buddha, Shankaracharya, and Swami Vivekananda. They devoted their lives to revitalizing religion and uplifting humanity. Buddha distilled the teachings of the Upanishads, simplifying them for the masses. His teachings were codified into the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Buddha's Four Noble Truths are: 1, there is suffering. This means that we are ignorant, hence the need for spirituality. 2, suffering is caused by desire and selfishness. 3, this suffering can be conquered. And 4, inculcating the Eightfold Path in our lives will lead to freedom, peace, and illumination, and will stop suffering. The Eightfold Path can be condensed into ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. When these practices, which are universal and practical, are harmonized in one's life, one can attain enlightenment. Swami Vivekananda, who had a deep and innate love for Buddha, said, "All my life I have been very fond of Buddha. I have more veneration for that character than any other, that boldness, that fearlessness, and that tremendous love. He was born for the good of humankind. Others may seek God, others may seek truth for themselves. He did not even care to know truth for himself. He sought truth because people were in misery. How to help them, that was his only concern. Throughout his life, he never had a thought for himself." Buddha, named Siddhartha Gautama at birth, was a prince of the Sakya clan. He was born in 580 BC, before Christ, in northern India. As is the customary practice in Eastern traditions, his father engaged astrologers to determine the prince's future. The prediction was that Siddhartha would become a great emperor, or, on seeing the suffering in the world, a great ascetic. To pivot his son's mind away from asceticism, the king created a utopian environment for the prince where everyone was happy and healthy. He was extremely intelligent and naturally meditative, so the study of the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita further enhanced his deeply reflective nature. He lived a comfortable, protected existence with no knowledge or experience of suffering. When he eventually ventured into the city, he encountered 3 sights that would affect him deeply: those of old age, illness, and death. These sights made him aware of the grim tragedy of human suffering. The sight of the blissful, peaceful face of an ascetic was a contrast to the other 3. The experience made Siddhartha pause and reflect. We must understand that Buddha saw homelessness, hunger, and poverty. He understood that these sufferings had a solution. Buddha's pursuit was for a permanent solution to address the process of aging, illness, and death, which are sufferings intrinsically connected with human existence. Buddha had a prosperous kingdom, a wife, a child, youth, good health, every imaginable luxury. Yet the blazing light of renunciation compelled him to renounce this ideal life in pursuit of a permanent solution to suffering for the benefit of humanity. Detachment and renunciation are necessary for progress in spiritual life. One must make sacrifices to achieve something higher, something better. The prince sacrificed his kingdom, his comforts, and his family in pursuit of enlightenment. We understand Buddha's teaching of right understanding to mean selfless renunciation and detachment, to understand that there is suffering and to seek a solution. There is a presumption that he just abandoned his wife and child. Actually, his wife, under his guidance, began a monastery for women, and he initiated his son, who became one of his disciples, and he formed a spiritual relationship with him. Siddhartha approached 2 teachers for guidance. Thus, he followed the traditional method of seeking guidance from a guru and was willing to become humble and be a disciple. After learning all that was possible from them, he embarked on ascetic practices which included austerity, penance, and contemplation. He joined some monks already practicing austerities in Sarnath. His companions recognized his advanced spirituality and appointed him as their leader. As he intensified his austerities, he became extremely emaciated. Eventually, the insight that enlightenment would not be attained by torturing oneself dawned upon him. He understood that the search for the ultimate truth calls for the utmost stamina and courage, not the weakening of the body. Established in right thought, he ended his extreme austerity. Right concentration or determination has tremendous importance both in spiritual and secular life. Multiple goals divide our energy. We can have intermediary goals, but we must define an ultimate goal. We can succeed in achieving our goal if we garner our willpower and resolve. Right effort signifies determination. Siddhartha sat under the Bodhi tree, determined to attain peace, wisdom, and awakening. His determination has been immortalized in the Lalita Vistra thus: "Let my body dry up on this seat. Let my bones, muscles, and skin decay. Without attaining to illumination, which is difficult in achievement, even through eons, I shall not leave this seat." We read that Buddha attained enlightenment or nirvana on a full moon night. Actually, the full moon day in May marks the three main events of Buddha's life, which means he was born on this day, attained enlightenment and nirvana on the same day, some 35 years later, and passed away again on the same day at the age of about 80, on the same full moon day in May. Thus, it is referred to the triple blessed day. Enlightenment is a state where one is free from suffering, anxiety, and disease. Buddha describes this state as follows: "I have attained that state which is called nirvana, where the breeze no longer sways the serenity, where night never sets, where illumination is constant, where truth is never eclipsed, where births and deaths are uprooted, and where treasures are never robbed." After a few weeks in this blissful state, Buddha decided to share his spiritual treasures with the world. He sought out his companion ascetics. These disciples resolved to avoid Buddha for abandoning the path of austerity. However, the power of purity, knowledge, and enlightenment is such that despite their reluctance, these ascetics spontaneously honored him and became his disciples. One of the cardinal teachings of Buddhism is that extremes should be avoided. Buddha advocated moderation. His first teaching to these disciples was, avoid these two extremes. The middle road, bringing insight, bringing knowledge, leads to tranquility, to the highest knowledge, to full enlightenment, and to peace. It is important to understand the prevalent practices during Buddha's lifetime. People focused on ritualistic worship, forgetting that the goal of life was to know who they were. When we say rituals, it means that priests had to perform the rituals, which created the impression that rituals were an end in itself. Some say he attacked Hinduism and the Vedas, but this was not the case. He just focused on Vedanta and stripped the priests from abusing their powers. Later, Shankaracharya came and balanced the interpretation of the Vedas, which is to help you realize your true self. Great souls are born at opportune times. They transform misunderstood thought processes and behaviors. Buddha's reforms aimed at making religion practical, strength-giving, and most important, accessible to the masses. Enlightenment was not an exclusive position. It was attainable by all. He traveled throughout India, engaging with people in a dialect called Pali, which was a type of colloquial Sanskrit spoken at the time. People were thus better able to understand and assimilate his teachings. Buddha encouraged people to deepen their spiritual life and presented the highest ideals to the world. Focus should be on morally perfect character and a pure heart. Right speech, action, and livelihood means truthfulness, speaking kindly, honesty, being tolerant, and earning a living ethically. Right action includes nonviolence, compassion, charity, and kindness. Buddha explained that the nature of suffering is like being hit by two arrows. The first arrow is what the world throws at us. This can be natural calamities, pandemics, personal tragedy, interpersonal relationships, and mind and body afflictions. The second arrow is the suffering which we have within us because of the first arrow. The first arrow is common to everyone. The second arrow is different depending on how we react to the first arrow. Real suffering is due to the second arrow. Buddha said spirituality cannot remove the first arrow, but what enlightenment and spirituality can do is to remove the second arrow, which is our real suffering, our inner suffering. Buddha felt that the antidote to suffering was enlightenment. By understanding the Four Noble Truths and developing the Eightfold Path, so that it becomes a way of life, we can transcend suffering and reach enlightenment. The scripture of Buddhism is the Dhammapada, and Buddhists believe in the law of karma and reincarnation. The point of departure from Hinduism is that Buddhism does not emphasize a personal God, but rather the state of Buddha, which means nirvana or enlightenment or being awake. We are indebted to Buddha, who ruled the world with his spirituality, his compassion, his ideas, and his holiness. Buddha did not want to be worshipped or idolized. He wanted us to imbibe the principles he experienced and taught. Buddha is an expression of sacrifice, of renunciation, detachment, and love for all humanity, including animals. Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haribhai. Dear sisters and brothers, we'll all chant together the Dasha Avatar Stotram, page 224. These are the popular incarnations of Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu. And the popular incarnations are these 10. So Dasha Avatar.
प्रलयपयोधिजले धृतवानसि वेदं विनीतमहेन्द्रचरित्रमखेदं केशवधृता दीनशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षितिरति विपुलतरे तव तिष्ठति पृष्ठ धरणि धरण किन चक्रधरीशे केशवधृता काचपयोपा जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिरमय जगत भगत पापं स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापं एष वधीता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वितरसि दिक्षुरने दीपति कमनीयं दशमुखमौलि बलिं रमणीयं केशवधीता रामशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे बहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलनाभं कलहति भीतिमिलितयमुनाभं केशवधीता फलधररूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निन्दसि यज्ञविधेयः श्रुतिजातं सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातं केशवधीता बुद्ध शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे म्लेच्छनि वाहनि धने कलयसि करवाणं धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालं केशवधीता कल्किशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री जय देव कवे उदितं उदारं श्रीनु सुखदं शुभदं भवसारं केशवधीता दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय।
श्री बुद्ध भगवान की जय. Let us meditate for a few moments. All divine beings remind us of the divinity that is within us. Therefore, during meditation, we try to feel that presence of God in our hearts. Swami Vivekananda says, all knowledge is in you, all power, all purity, and all freedom. Why can you not express this knowledge? Because you do not believe in it. Believe in it, and it must and will manifest. Never lose heart. In eating, dressing or lying, in singing or playing, in enjoyment or disease, always manifest the highest moral courage. Then only will you attain the grace of Mahashakti, the Divine Mother.
शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत्
जय श्री गुरु महाराज की
जय
महामाई की
जय
स्वामी जी महाराज की
जय
गंगा मात की
जय
महावीर स्वामी जी की
जय
सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय पार्वती पते हर